At the end of day 4 of the India versus South Africa test match in Barsapara, Shukri Conrad, the head coach of the South African team, generated a storm when he used the word grovel. Now, that has not gone down well with a lot of Indian stars. Former India and South Africa players have criticized Shukri Conrad's use of that particular term because there is a history behind that term when it comes to cricket. The first one to voice his displeasure of Shukri Conrad's comment was Anil Kumble. Speaking in the host broadcasters when the live was going on, he mentioned, humility is most important at such times. I certainly didn't expect this from the coach or the support staff. When you are winning, first thing is to stay humble, not say something like this at a press conference. There's history attached to this. Of course, everybody knows the history if you have been following cricket. 1976, Tony Greig's Grovel comment against the West Indies in the Oval Test match. 49 years later, it had to create a storm in Barsapara. Another individual who said this, who didn't echo what Shukri Conrad mentioned, was Parthiv Patel. In that same broadcast, he mentioned, maybe the South African coach does not know the weightage of the word. But I don't think so. There was a smirk on his face when he said it. There is no doubt that this is disrespectful. Yes, to use it in the context of the game, India have already been humiliated. But to use that term further does represent disrespectfulness in a way. Was it necessary? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's the sign of the confidence that you got when you're world test champions and you're going to win a series in India after 25 years. Maybe that is how this has come about. But Steyn has also distanced himself from the comments that Shukri Conrad has given. Because he said, there are certain things you just don't say. There's stigma attached to it. It just wasn't necessary. South Africa were in such a dominant position, saying nothing is enough. I'm just not on that boat. I don't like that. I almost don't even want to make a comment upon it. So Steyn is one of the prominent South Africans who's distanced himself from Shukri Conrad's grovel comment at this point. Others have hoped that this will fire the Indian cricket team up because he mentioned Akash Chopra was one of them who said, along with several others, it's a bit unfortunate. If you look at the series between England and West Indies back in 1976, they needed to change the rules midway after the West Indians replied to that comment from Tony Greig with bouncers. Brian Close, look at the way how his body was peppered and look at the way how Michael Holding responded to that. You will see it was 14 overs of hell that the England batsman had to undergo. And the bouncer rule change apparently came after that. Cheteshwar Pujara mentioned, it will hurt as well. I don't think the statement will go down well in the dressing room. And he hoped that this would fire the Indian cricket team up. Unfortunately, it has not. Because at the time of doing this video, India are staring down the barrel and are staring at a 2-0 whitewash. But were the comments necessary? Maybe, maybe not. Disrespectful? Maybe. But all that will be pushed into the background because the major talking point will be a series lost by India at home against the Sena nation for the second consecutive year. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.